Hi friends, so welcome to my Yin Yoga for Happiness We Are Fit&Well account takeover. I'm really excited right now, to the extent where, I decided it's sunny. I cracked out the big guns and I've got the rainbow unitard on. I'm going to be excited when that happens. Now, what I have to do first, I do apologise for anyone who is, hi everyone who is waving. I'm going to turn off the commenting just so that everyone who's watching can see the yoga moves, because as you can see, the yoga mat is behind me. So apologies, but do feel free to watch this back, to put any comments. It will be on the Instagram TV of the We Are Fit&Well account and on their YouTube channel when it's done. So welcome. Make yourselves comfy. If you are joining me for the Yin Yoga for Happiness session, then you need very little but a comfy space on the floor, or even your bed if you're feeling like it, and just your good self. My name is Kat. I am an occupational therapist by background, also a yoga instructor, and basically a positive psychology nut. So I have developed Yin Yoga for Happiness as a way of bringing happiness psychology, interventions and little tips and techniques that people can use to enhance their well-being through yoga. So what better way to start your Friday than a little bit of happiness and chill? So when you are ready, if you are joining in, which I would be delighted for you to do so, then grab a seat, make yourself super comfortable, and a seat that feels good for you. So today's session, 30 minutes on this Instagram Live, is all about listening to your instincts and doing what feels good for you. Just because I'm the mug at the front in the rainbow unitard does not mean that you have to do everything I say, but listen to what works for your body. So once you have found a comfortable seated position, my invitation, if it feels okay, is to either close your eyes down or maybe just soften your gaze towards the floor. Maybe take a couple of rolls of your shoulders or of your neck. Again, whatever your body is calling for you to do. And before we go any further, just allowing your breath to naturally settle. This is when I bring in my big reveal, which is that there is no such thing as happiness. So if you're here for me to give you the magic formula, the elixir, the thing that you can go out and buy that will make you happy, soz, it's not going to happen. But happiness is about creating the right conditions inside ourselves in order for happiness to occur. So we have everything we need inside us right now. And one of the best places I find to start is just to breathe calmly, slowly, steadily. And the breathing technique that I wanted to start with today is called 7-11 breathing. Basically, what it means is we're going to breathe in through the nose and then breathe out through the mouth for ever so slightly longer than we breathe in. So it can be 7 and 11 seconds. I find that a little bit too long at this time of day. So we're going to go for 4 and 6. So when you're ready and you've let all of the breath come out of your lungs, breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4, then slowly out through your mouth, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, nice, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, then out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, keep it going, my friends. And as you breathe out, for the slightly longer count, imagine that you're breathing out through a straw, pursing your lips into a little circle shape. And this will allow you to really slow down your breath. And the reason that we do this is not just for the fun of it, but it creates a feedback loop. Breathing in this way lowers our heart rate. Our lungs are expanding and squashing back down in a much slower and steadier way. And this feedback loop from the heart and the lungs kicks in and tells the brain whatever's going on and whatever's happening in your life, either internally or externally, it tells it that it's okay, that it's calm, and that it can handle whatever is occurring. So this is a brilliant technique that you can use anytime, just to allow yourself a little moment of calm in order to think about what you want to do next, what your next move is. It's also a brilliant breeding ground for happiness to occur in the body. So continuing to breathe in this way. In for 4 and out for 6, or just out for a little bit longer, a smidgen longer than you breathe in. Don't worry too much about counting if that's not feeling good for you, but just breathing out for a little longer than you breathe in. You'll be amazed at how quickly this technique can just allow you to feel calm, to feel centered and grounded, which is the first step in order to bring about happiness. So the quote that I wanted to start today's session with before we come into our first yin pose is one by someone called Henry Thoreau, an essayist from America in the 19th century, and he says, "Happiness is like a butterfly. The more you chase it, the more it will elude you. But if you turn your attention to other things, it will come and sit softly on your shoulder." So my question to you, as you allow your breath to just come back to normal, don't worry too much about keeping hold of this breathing pattern unless it feels quite natural to you. But my question is, what would you notice if you were, as you go through your life, just allowing yourself to live, to be alive, and to turn your attention to other things, trusting that as and when the time was right, happiness would come and sit softly on your shoulder. Okay, so when you are ready, let's flow into our first pose. Finding your way onto your hands and knees. And we are going to start off with puppy dog. So today's session is very much about stretching out those tired arms and shoulders and neck that has been taking a battering over the past year with all of us sitting at home working. So finding just a comfortable kneeling position, hands and knees, and keeping your hips in the air. We're just going to, like a puppy dog, stretching in the sunshine, reach our arms out in front of us. Taking a big deep breath here before sinking down towards the mat. Now don't worry at all if you can't get your head on the mat. One option is you could take a cushion, you could raise the ground up a little bit closer to you, and you could rest your chin or your forehead on there. If you can manage to reach the ground with your forehead, to make sure that you can still hear me while I'm in this contortion, then great. But remember, listen to your body. And when you are in this pose, just sinking down, coming back to the breath. And my first invitation is for you just to notice what's going on in your body. Where are the areas of tension? Where are the areas of tightness? One of the ideas that I use a lot when I work with yoga or with coaching clients is an acceptance and commitment technique. And I want you to imagine all of the tension, the tightness that you're experiencing right now, maybe even the internal tension, the challenges, the worries, the problems that are floating around your head. Imagine that they are a beach ball and that you are standing in a beautiful, clear lake of water. And I want you to take that beach ball in your mind and try and get rid of it. Try and push it under the water. Try and make that tension, that tightness, that pain, those worries go away. But you've got to keep hold of them. You've got to keep pushing them under the water. And the idea is that in trying to get rid of our worries, in trying to sort of make our tension go away, we actually end up creating more of a struggle for ourselves, pushing them away, trying to get rid of them, trying to avoid them. And so for the final minute of our puppy dog pose, I want you to just imagine that you are taking that beach ball that stands for any of the physical tension or tightness in your body, or any of the tension, tightness, worries, regrets, ruminations in your mind. And I want you to just allow that beach ball to pop up to the surface and just to float alongside you, coming and going as it pleases. It's always there. We can never get rid of our worries or our problems, but we can allow them to just come and go as they please, as we choose to get on with the rest of our lives. So just allowing this idea to mull over in your mind. What worries or tensions have you got at the moment, either physically, emotionally, mentally? And like that beach ball, what would it take for you to keep breathing and to just soften into your experience and drop the struggle of trying to make them go away? And taking 2 last big deep breaths here in puppy dog pose. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Nice work, friends. One more. And when you're ready, just pulling your way really slowly back up to your hands and knees, and we are going to flow into our next pose, which is turtle. All the animals this morning. I think that might be it for animals, so make the most of this one. And turtle pose, not dissimilar to child's pose if you've done other forms of yoga, is allowing your arms to just land down by your sides, palms facing up, and again allowing your forehead just to sink down onto the mat. And what I want you to really focus on in the 3 minutes that we're going to pause here, staying in child's pose, not distracted by my movements, is I want you to really notice what is going on in your body right now. So again, one of the really important techniques in starting to create the right conditions inside us that were always there to generate more happiness is to learn to just acknowledge and accept whatever's going on for us at that time. One of the techniques that I love is the analogy of RAIN. And RAIN stands for recognize, accept, investigate, and then not to identify, non-identify. So let's go through those one by one as you're just softening down here in turtle or child's pose. So I want you to take a moment and just scan your body and recognize what's going on for you. What are you experiencing right now? So maybe there's a physical tightness or niggle. Perhaps it's something new or maybe an old injury that you've had for years that's always kind of nagging away, but again, like the beach ball, you spend a lot of time trying to ignore, trying to push away. And it also may be that you have an internal experience, that there's something going on for you emotionally right now. You might be feeling a bit flat, you might be feeling excited and happy because it's almost the weekend. You might be feeling worried or nervous about something that's coming up today. And again, using the R of our RAIN technique, I want you to just recognize, without labeling or without adding any judgments or pressure to get rid of what you recognize. Just recognize what is going on in your body right now. And as you recognize it, can you start to just breathe into it? Just lean into whatever you're experiencing at this moment in time, right now. And taking 3 more deep breaths here in our turtle pose. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Still recognizing what you're feeling, but also knowing that you can use your breath to anchor you back into the moment if any of it gets too difficult or too challenging. Anchoring your breath into the moment at any time to bring about a sense of calm. Okay. And in your own time, no rush, doing it your way, we are going to slowly find our way onto our backs for our next pose, but moving slowly. This is the key with yin. It's not like other forms of yoga, which are about pushing yourself, stamina, power, feeling muscle tension and tightness, but yoga is about softening into our experience, which can sound easy, it can sound simple, but what I find is often when people do yin for the first time, it's one of the hardest things they've ever done, because we spend so much of our time pushing that beach ball away, that to actually soften into our experience can be pretty challenging. So going easy on yourself as we lie down for our next pose, banana pose. If you've done yoga before, if you've done this pose before, then feel free to slowly find your way into it. Otherwise, lying down one of the long edges of your mat, we are going to just shuffle our feet, our heels slowly over to the opposite corner, keeping our hips exactly where they are, and then taking your arms softly overhead. You're going to, and my technical term for this move is shimmy, because there's no other word for it. Shimmy your head, neck and shoulders over to the same edge as your heels, but again keeping your hips where they are. And you should, lo and behold, find yourself in a giant human banana shape. Yes, people, we've moved on from animals and we're now doing fruit. Bear with, you will feel a good stretch from this, so you should be feeling a deep stretch down the side of your body. If this is too intense for you, then you can just shuffle or shimmy those feet or shoulders back a little bit. If it feels good, if you're enjoying this stretch, then you can intensify it by just crossing one ankle over the other. You can extend those arms a little bit. And my invitation to you now is, once you find yourself in your version of banana pose, knowing that you can come out of it, that you can tweak it at any point, I want you to see if you can use your breath to completely, once again, just soften down. Breathing in relaxation and breathing out tension. And moving through our RAIN technique, or a brilliant technique to create the right conditions inside ourselves for happiness to flourish. Now that you've recognized what may be going on inside you, and you've breathed into it in acceptance of it, we've got the R, the A. Now moving on to the I, which is investigate, and this is my favourite one. So if it feels okay for you to do so, whatever's going on for you right now, whether it's a physical sensation or an emotional experience, keeping your breath nice and steady and calm, I want you to, or I invite you to just investigate that experience. So whether you're feeling a physical sensation, a tightness or a tension, or whether you're feeling an emotional experience, whether that feels positive or negative, trying not to label it as such, but just investigating where in your body do you notice this experience? Where is it? And if it was a colour, what colour would this sensation be? I know it sounds a bit abstract, but go with me and see how you get on. If your experience, whether it's physical or whether it's psychological or emotional, if your experience was a shape, what shape would it be? And keep going like this, really investigating like you're a scientist observing something under a microscope. Really investigating what's going on for you right now. And taking 3 last deep, steady breaths here. Doing so fantastically, guys. Particularly for first thing on a Friday morning, let's face it. When you have taken those 3 breaths, again, no rush, like you're moving through treacle or honey. Because we've all had that experience, right? Finding your way back to a straight line and pausing here for a moment before shuffling over to the other edge of the mat. So normally in yin we would take bigger pauses between the poses in order to really kind of enjoy the release and the experience that we get when we come out of them. But because we're pressed for time today and we want to be an evened up banana, then I'm going to move on. So coming to the other edge of the mat and doing exactly the same again on the other side. Just edging your heels over to the opposite corner. Maybe taking a breath here before just shuffling head, neck and shoulders over to the same edge. And again, noticing how it feels on this side. It may and probably will feel completely different to the first side. And allowing that to be okay. Recognizing, accepting and investigating your experience right now. And then softening down into this side of banana pose as we come to our final letter in the RAIN technique. Recognize, accept, investigate, and then non-identify. So this is where we step back and in really creating the right conditions and the right mindset for happiness to occur in the body. Rather than getting tangled up with our thoughts, our feelings, our physical and emotional experiences, which we can so easily do, I want you to, once again, just use your breath to take a metaphorical step back ground yourself in the moment and allow yourself to notice that although these feelings, these thoughts, these emotions are a part of your experience, they are not you, they're not the sole entirety of who you are. And the best way that we can do this is through our breath and through our sensory experience. Our senses are a brilliant way to take us away from getting wrapped up in our thoughts, our feelings, our worries, our concerns, our physical experiences, and in allowing us just to be in the moment, right now. Because quite frankly, my friends, this is all we've got. So with your eyes closed, if that feels comfortable, breathing slowly and steadily in this side of banana pose. Just noticing 3 sounds in the room around you. Might be bird song, might be a fridge humming, might be your own breath as it enters and exits your body. And now notice 3 physical sensations, keeping them small. Maybe your clothing against your skin, your head against the mat, or the sensation of air as it enters and leaves your nostrils. And when you're ready, just slowly finding your way out of banana pose, and we are going to finish in my favourite yin yoga pose, which is starfish. So bringing your arms and legs wide. What better thing to do than to starfish in a rainbow unitard on a Friday morning? And maybe bringing a subtle smile to your lips. And noticing how the act of simply smiling can change your internal state immediately. Keeping hold of any of the techniques that we've used in today's session to guide you as you go through the rest of your day, the rest of your life. And just finishing off as you really once more experience how it feels to be lying here in this starfish pose. Allowing your breath to just ground you in the moment. The quote that I wanted to finish off with, which really sums up for me happiness and the experience of being here in this world, in this life, is an Alan Watts quote, which says, "The meaning of life is just to be alive." It is so plain and so obvious and so simple. And yet everybody rushes around in a great panic, as if it were necessary to achieve something beyond themselves. So as you take your last big deep breath in starfish pose, in through the nose, and pursing your lips like you're blowing through a straw, slowly breathing out, extending that out breath as long as you can, keeping that subtle smile on your lips, and rolling onto one side, maybe pausing here for a moment before pushing through your palms and finding your way back up to seated, finishing where we started. My question for you, my wonderful friends, is what would you notice? What small things would you notice? Would you be saying yes to or maybe saying no to? What would you find yourself doing? What experiences would you be engaging in if, as you go into the rest of your day, you were actively allowing yourself just to be alive? No pressure to be happy or be a certain way or a certain person for certain people. Reminding yourself all the while that happiness is like a butterfly. The more you chase it, the more it will elude you. But if you turn your attention to other things, it will come and sit softly on your shoulder. So taking one last big deep breath in as we bring our butterfly arms nice and wide. Maybe setting an intention for yourself for the rest of the day or weekend or month ahead. And then deep breath out as you wrap those beautiful butterfly wings around you. And maybe just saying, as cheesy as it can sound, just thinking or saying out loud something nice, something kind, something compassionate about yourself. Like, you are wonderful, or you are kind, or it's all going to be okay. Slowly bringing your arms down, flickering your eyes open, and you are done, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a fabulous Friday. It's almost the weekend. Don't know where that came from. Just got moved by the weekend spirit. Have a good one. Take care, and thank you so much for joining me on this sunny morning.